Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement.
Have you ever dreamed of going up to outer space? Or maybe meeting other beings from another place? Have you ever wondered what it's like on other planets? Then you watch a science show and come to believe you understand it? You feel empowered by the knowledge and you feel enlightened, listening to Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson. But then you wake up and you start to see the obvious. Life is just a lie and this whole world ain't what we thought it was. NASA's missions to the moon were never completed. They just filmed them in a room and people believe it. I used to wonder what it's like to be an astronaut. Now when I see them acting, I can't help but to laugh a lot. They give us cartoons and they claim that we live on a ball, but it's flat and it's not moving or spinning at all. Why you lying to us, man? That's something that we want to know. After that you're gonna have to pack up all your stuff and go.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement.
History has been rewritten by winners of wars. The Jesuit order, Khazars, Freemasons and more. They pulled the veil over our eyes and it's time to awaken. Through organized indoctrination our minds have been taken. It's time we take our power back and we rescue our people. The Vatican and the bankers are like Resident Evil. They may have had the greatest plan that was ever concocted, but Illuminati never thought that they'd ever be spotted. They're manufacturing reality all in our heads. They tell us if the earth is flat then we'll fall off the edge, but if it is a spinning ball we won't fall off it then. And gravity is our imaginary magic friend. Why is water always flat when unmanipulated? Why are pictures of the earth computer generated? Why you lying to us, man? That's something that we want to know. After that you're gonna have to pack up all your stuff and go.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement.
Dear NASA, it's becoming 100% crystal clear that you and the other space programs that are in operation are connected and are deceiving the entire world. More and more people are waking up every single day, and we are now able to see right through you. But what we really want to know is, why are you lying? Sincerely, me and the great people of this earth.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement.
Apollo 8, the first manned mission to the moon, entered lunar orbit on Christmas Eve, December 24, 1968. That evening, the astronauts, Commander Frank Borman, Command Module Pilot Jim Lovell, and Lunar Module Pilot William Anders did a live television broadcast from lunar orbit, in which they showed pictures of the Earth and Moon seen from Apollo 8. Lovell said, "The vast loneliness is awe-inspiring and it makes you realize just what you have back there on Earth." They ended the broadcast with the crew taking turns reading from the Book of Genesis. William Anders: "For all the people on Earth, the crew of Apollo 8 has a message we would like to send you. In the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form, and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, Let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness." Jim Lovell: And God called the light day, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. Frank Borman. And God said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. And God called the dry land earth. And the gathering together of the waters called he seas, and God saw that it was good. Borman then added, and from the crew of Apollo 8, we close with good night, good luck, a Merry Christmas, and God bless all of you on the good earth. Genesis 1a. That Christmas message about creation and the firmament was the best thing NASA has ever said or done. What a message! Millions were listening worldwide. NASA telling us there is a firmament above and the waters within. The whole thing is about the message of the firmament above and God's creation. I first stumbled across this theory from someone who calls himself Lord Stephen Christ. Despite having a gigantic ego to call himself Lord Christ, and being of a heavy fundamentalist Christian slant with not much proof, I found he did indeed have some good evidence that there was glass in the sky. So credit due where credit is due, regardless of the source. Since researching NASA's weird and wonderful orbiting machines and their problems with the thermosphere, more evidence came to light to support this theory. Some of the evidence below is weaker than others, but still deserves a mention. Space Shuttle Nose Cone, Space Shuttle Reentry, Thermosphere, Ionosphere, Atmospheric Elves, Libyan Glass. Space Shuttle Nose Cone. The nose cone and front edges of the wings of the Space Shuttle are made of reinforced carbon. Not used anywhere else on the vehicle, but also employed for the nose cones of intercontinental ballistic missiles. Reinforced carbon is carbon fiber in a matrix of graphite. The carbon fiber gives it a tensile strength of 101 Xi and also makes it less brittle than the heat-resistant tiles on the rest of the shuttle. Compare this to the roughly 65 Xi strength of aluminum which constitutes the shuttle's frame, or the paltry 0.013 Xi of the Li 9000 ceramic tiles on the underbelly. It also don't crack at extreme temperatures, up to 2000 C. Why are the nose cone and wing edges super strengthened since there is nothing up there but a few atoms of gas? Re-entry perhaps? Firstly, there is hardly any atmosphere at that altitude whether going up or coming down, which also opens a new can of worms regarding why the space shuttle should heat to 1650 C when there is so little air in the upper atmosphere. Secondly, the shuttle re-enters at an angle with its nose pointing up, not down, as seen below. It also launches at an angle, as seen from the inside of an airplane. This is highly suspicious in itself and leads one to presume that the shuttle flies as a projectile in a semicircle arc, going straight up and then down again soon after. But this isn't conclusive and also isn't relevant to the point being made here. There can be only one reason why the shuttle is reinforced at its nose and front wing edges. It must hit something hard at some point on its way up. And looking at the numerous footage from balloons being sent into the stratosphere, we can see only black, which must mean this material is both hard and transparent. The only hard and transparent materials we have is glass or plastic, and glass is usually a lot more brittle than plastic, which it would need to be for the shuttle to break through. We will also see later that it is glass rather than plastic which is in the sky. Space Shuttle Reentry. On reentry, the Space Shuttle heats to 1650 C at 100 kilometers altitude. Why 100 kilometers? We are told this is so because those few air molecules present at this altitude, 1/2,200,000 of the air at sea level, are compressed against the hull due to the shuttle's hypersonic speed, 30,000 km/h. These compressed molecules accumulate and can't get away, causing excess pressure and therefore heat. But there is hardly any air up there at 100 kilometers. The shuttle should heat up at a much lower altitude where there is a lot more gas to get in the way, and yet it is not. For this kind of temperature to occur at 100 kilometers, there must be a lot of something up there to create this amount of friction. And glass fits the bill perfectly, or you can believe the steel melting temperatures of the shuttle occur because of the compression of a few molecules of air trapped in the shuttle's shock wave. Why over 1650 C? At what temperature does glass, silicon dioxide, melt? You guessed it, 1600 C. This is why the underbelly of the space shuttle has to reach 1650 C in order to melt the glass underneath, so it can fall through and re-enter. If the angle of the shuttle is too shallow, it bounces off the atmosphere, read glass, like a skipping stone, and goes back into space, which is called skip re-entry. There is supposedly nothing up there for the shuttle to skip against unless of course there is glass in the sky. If the re-entry angle is too steep, it could cause too much stress on the brittle heat-resistant ceramic tiles, possibly breaking a few of them, which would be fatal. Also worth a mention is that later in the upward part of its parabolic flight, once broken through the KRMN line, the shuttle turns over, exposing its most heat resistant underbelly to the occasional steel melting temperatures of the sun, allowing the shuttle to travel much further into the thermosphere than it would otherwise. Also, according to NASA, the solid fuel booster rockets jettison from the shuttle at only 64 kilometers, and the external fuel tank is released just short of orbital velocity. At what altitude is just short of orbital velocity? Just under 100 kilometers. 100 kilometers is the KRMN line, commonly used to define the boundary between the Earth's atmosphere and outer space. The external tank has to be jettisoned at just below this height, as it cannot penetrate the glass. Only the shuttle itself and intercontinental missiles can do so, as they are the only ones with reinforced carbon nose cones and front wing edges. Potential commercial space flights, such as Virgin Galactic, which use space planes, also only go as high as 100 kilometers, thereby not penetrating the glass. The Hebrew word rakia, most often translated firmament, is used 9 times in Genesis 1. It is also used twice in Psalms, 5 times in Ezekiel, and once in Daniel. The rakia is the focal point of the second day of creation. Let there be a rakia in the midst of the waters to separate the waters above from the waters below, and God called the rakia sky/heaven. In Psalm 19:1, the rakia and the heavens are equated, paired there as poetic synonyms. In Psalm 150:1, God's rakia is paired poetically with his sanctuary. Daniel 12:3 pairs this same rakia